A new bill signed by Georgia Governor Brian Kemp limits some immigrants from obtaining land. This is called Senate Bill 420, and it bans any, quote, agent of China, Cuba, Iran, North Korea, and Russia who are not U.S. citizens or legal residents from owning commercial land or farmland in the state that is within 10 miles of a military installation. Governor Kemp said, "We cannot allow foreign adversaries to control something as critical to our survival as our food supply." So they're basically saying no foreigners, no immigrants can own anything too close to us because they're going to take away our food. They're going to harm us. I think this is a xenophobic law. I think this is a deeply dangerous law. I think it just conjures more hate and fear and hate of immigrants. It is just a terrible law. But again, it's a cynical one. Brian Kemp knows that by making a law like that, crazy lefties like me are going to disagree, and that earns him votes. People are like, well, if Marc Lamont Hill hates it, then we must find out what it's about and just like it just because he hates it. And that's not me being self-aggrandizing. It could be any lefty, any liberal TV commentator, any progressive activist, any radical voice. But the point is, they're making it so that immigrants can't buy land, not just because they don't want immigrants to have land, but because they know that the defenders of those immigrants will have to come out of the woodwork, and then they can be politically beaten up. They can be politically bloody because of this position. But I think it's interesting, and not to make everything about Palestine, but it's just fascinating that, these same Republicans will talk about how the Palestinians are so evil because, they won't allow Israelis to buy land, or they'll say they're so anti-Semitic, they said no Jews can buy land. But Brian Kemp is making an argument here, right? That he's preventing outsiders from buying land for strategic reasons, for economic reasons, but also for security reasons and political security reasons. And no one is batting an eye about it. They're saying it's fine. When Palestinians say, hey, we're going to prohibit land sales, it's not because they're Jewish. Again, it's because they're Israeli, and it's because there's an occupation here. It's just interesting when we decide that it's okay to block people from making certain choices that are afforded to them through the Constitution and through naturalization, or just through our global economic system. So Brian Kemp is doing this partly. My point is, Brian Kemp is doing this partly to respond to anti-immigrant sentiment, but he's also just making a long-term chess move so that he can be in the good graces of the people who hate the people I'm talking about.